Recently, some strange phenomena have been seen on the streets of China. Some people are walking around with a piece of the size of A4 attached to them. Upon closer inspection, it turns out to be a clothing tag. Other people are even carrying large mouse pads on their backs. It turns out that these too are clothing tags. These quirky designs have left people both laughing and shaking their heads, but clothing retailers are actually struggling with them. The reason behind these unusual solutions is to deal with the increasingly outrageous return rates. The idea is to physically limit returns by making it harder for customers to return products without legitimate reasons. According to reports, a men's clothing store in Changzhou, Jiangsu, used mouse pads, ashtrays, socks, and other items as tags. After using these creative tags, the store saw a significant decrease in return rates. Mr. Wang, the store owner, said that a shirt that used to earn about $4.24 US now only earns about $2.83 US, due to the added cost of the new tags. However, he noticed that after switching to these tags, returns dropped significantly, and he even received frequent positive reviews. A clothing retailer in Beijing also posted on social media that in order to prevent some customers from taking advantage of platforms by wearing clothes and then returning them, they reluctantly decided to put an obvious combination lock on the zippers of their clothes. The idea was that if someone did wear the garment out, they would feel a bit embarrassed. The lock doesn't interfere with trying on the clothing, and after the customer confirms they won't be returning the item, the store gives them the combination, and they get to keep the lock. Reports show that the return rate for men's online clothing in China is around 30 to 40%. But in 2025, due to women buying clothes for men, the return rate has risen by 10%. For women's clothing, publicly available data shows that the online return rate can be as high as 50 to 60%. Returns from live stream sales exceed 80%. It's important to note that many of these returns are not due to quality issues, but because some customers wear the items for a few days and then return them for no reason. To avoid these wear and return behaviors, retailers have been forced to come up with clever solutions. Some clothing businesses have chosen to use giant tags to create a clear physical boundary. Retailers say that these returns are causing them huge losses. During last year's Singles Day, a female clothing retailer from Guangzhou told Yangcheng Evening News, "Last year's for Singles Day, we prepared stock worth 5 billion RMB, but the return value was nearly 4 million RMB. The shipping cost alone cost 120,000 RMB, and many of the returned clothes had obvious signs of wear, making them unsellable. We lost over 800,000 RMB. Top brands are also facing similar problems. A manager at a leading online sales company shared with Yangcheng Evening News that their company's annual sales exceeded 100 million RMB, but their net profit is only about 2 to 3 million RMB. He explained, just the cost for warehouse sorting, cleaning, and repairs for returns cost us nearly 10 million RMB a year. With platform commissions and marketing costs, our profits are almost non-existent. Recently, there have been many instances of customers exploiting platform policies to cause significant losses for merchants. A merchant in Shanxi exposed a customer, Ms. Guo, who bought a light green, size 85C bra from their store. She returned an old, worn-out black bra instead. The bra had clearly been used for over half a year, with the washing label barely visible. The merchant said, "You think you can just wear it out and return it for a new one? Now you can get a lifetime of free bras, huh? If you're really that poor and can't afford bras, just tell me, I'll send you a couple." The merchant was clearly upset by the blatant abuse of the return policy. The merchant received a return that looked like leftover food instead of the product they had shipped. "I sent it with the packaging and hanger, but look what I got back. This is just unbelievable."
I found that some people, just for a simple refund, have really gone to an insane extent. Let me show you an after-sales video from today.
What is this?
This is a headpiece I sent out. After the buyer received it, she sent me an unboxing video, claiming that I sent her something completely unrelated. She just filed a complaint to the platform, and they already refunded her. What's funny is that I've watched this video more than 10 times, and I still can't tell what she actually received. It looks like a pair of handcuffs, but I don't even make or sell those, so how could I possibly send that to her? And look at the red circle here. The packaging clearly shows signs of being open. This is definitely not an unboxing video of a perfectly intact package. What's even funnier is that she used a black marker to cover up her address in the receipt section. What are you hiding? Are you that scared? The funniest part is, this handcuff, or whatever it is, I feel like its value is probably much higher than the headpiece I sold her. Do you think I would send a more expensive item just to swap your headpiece? It's really ridiculous, right? For a few bucks worth of an item, you go through all this effort and tricks. How pathetic and scary must your life be for you to act like this?
The Taizhou police in Zhejiang province broke a major fraud case involving refunds without return. A woman, surnamed Cheng, had been exploiting a loophole in delivery and shopping platforms since the second half of 2024. She would place orders for clothes, daily necessities, and other items, then request refunds without returning the goods. She managed to scam merchants out of over 3,000 items, valued at around 250,000 RMB. The police have launched an investigation into her for fraud, as her actions went beyond just misusing the return policy. They now constitute a criminal offense. In mid-November, another e-commerce merchant revealed a fraud case where a customer bought a down jacket for about $141. They quickly requested a return, then sent back a phone case instead. To cover her tracks, the customer faked the logistics information, using the merchant's store name for the address, but changing the recipient and contact details to her own. She even tricked the delivery service into signing for the package and discarding it, effectively getting a refund without returning the item. Fortunately, the merchant noticed the fraud in time and reported it to the platform, preventing further losses. At the end of April this year, over 60 students from a vocational technical school in Shenyang collectively bought clothes online and returned them after participating in a sports event, citing quality issues. This caused the shop owner a loss of at least $1,100. An even more extreme case emerged in 2024 and continued to be discussed into 2025. A female vlogger, known for her attention-grabbing content, openly claimed in a short video that she had contracted genital warts. She boasted about how she never cut off clothing tags or wore base layers while shopping for clothes or even underwear online. Instead, she would wear the clothes directly, wait a few days until they showed signs of wear, and then exploit the platform's 7-day no-questions-asked return policy to get a refund. She even turned this process into content, explaining her techniques on camera. Her actions publicly tore down the basic hygiene and trust standards for returns. Audiences felt both disgusted and angry. They worried that if merchants followed the usual return process, these used clothes, after repeated skin and mucous membrane contact, could be resold as undamaged products. Despite the heavy losses, many merchants could only suffer in silence due to the complex and difficult process of gathering evidence of fraud. Some businesses, unable to bear the pressure, have even exited the market or gone into hiding, leaving their debts behind. In recent years, e-commerce platforms, in their race to gain users, have pushed the consumer-first principle to the extreme, with 7 days no-questions-asked returns. This has become a policy that automatically sides with customers in quality disputes. This, combined with features like refund-only and shipping insurance, has led to an application of consumer rights, while making it difficult to hold customers accountable. As a result, people have started gaming the system. Many people feel it's acceptable to buy a dress for a wedding or some clothes for a trip, wear them once, then return them, thinking it's not malicious but a clever use of the platform's rules. Another type is the professional, industrialized gray market. This scam has almost become ubiquitous in China's internet culture. From credit card points and cloud storage memberships to food delivery red envelopes, people have found ways to exploit refund policies. Some have even studied platform rules in detail and use bulk ordering and returns to make money off of refund-related differences, with professional returners processing hundreds of orders a day, focused on low-priced, lightweight items. There are even courier stations openly recruiting partners to teach people how to manipulate returns and then pocket the insurance money. When the refund-only service was introduced around 2021, it was meant to reduce after-sales disputes, cut down on communication costs, and put pressure on merchants with poor service and quality. However, by 2024, refund-only became a standard feature on most platforms, and the scam market quickly caught up, using photo manipulation, fabricated issues, and fake evidence to make a mockery of basic business principles. Some merchants even had to go to customers' apartment buildings with a loudspeaker, demanding that they return items or else they'd call the police. While this may seem comical to onlookers, the merchant is facing real financial pain. Platforms have finally realized that the refund-only policy is backfiring and harming the entire ecosystem. Starting in 2024, platforms like Taobao, Kuaishou, and 1688 began optimizing or even canceling the unconditional refund-only rule. Taobao reported that 2 months after rolling out its policy, the platform was blocking over 400,000 unreasonable requests a day, indicating the scale of the scam. By 2025, Taobao and Tmall had made it part of the merchants' support initiatives to establish an account integrity system, using AI models to detect and block abnormal refund-only requests, product swapping, fake returns, and photo manipulation. They even promised to compensate merchants who had fallen victim to such schemes. On the surface, it seems like the rules are being fixed, platforms are evolving, and systems are being patched up. But the real question is, why has this black market grown so large within China's e-commerce system, to the point where it had to be specifically governed and rectified? Experts believe that to understand the chaos behind all this, we must ultimately look at the economic pressures. No matter what official data says about the overall stability and improving conditions, ordinary people find it hard to be convinced by the government's narrative. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, retail sales of consumer goods in 2024 grew by 3.5%, showing a positive increase on the surface. But compared to the 7 or 8% growth before the pandemic, this growth rate seems underwhelming. There are also two striking data points in the same report. The Consumer Price Index, CPI, rose by only 0.2% in 2024, nearly no inflation, and real estate prices generally dropped, with both new and second-hand home prices falling. This suggests that people are not buying, but rather holding on to their money. The so-called downward consumption trend is essentially caused by unstable income expectations, shrinking assets, and rising employment pressures. Youth employment is another sensitive indicator. After the government resumed publishing youth unemployment figures, the unemployment rate for urban youths aged 16 to 24 has remained between 15% and 18% for over 6 months, even after excluding students from the statistics. Many young people are unable to find stable jobs and have to rely on flexible employment, gig economy work, or side jobs. The uncertainty in their lives has increased significantly. In such an environment, saving whenever possible and pulling a fast one when you can easily turn from an individual's clever idea into a widespread strategy. On top of that, there are countless scam tutorials circulating on social media, teaching people how to stack coupons, use full discounts, profit from return shipping insurance, and manipulate refund-only policies. With the help of algorithm-driven recommendations, there's a growing mindset that if I don't scam the system, someone else will. Economic pressures and technological tools have pushed some people into gray zones. On the other hand, some argue that the real problem is not the economic pressures, but the loss of morality among Chinese people. In the past decade, when China's economy was growing rapidly, society believed that effort would be rewarded. But now, the average person's internal monologue has shifted. They think, if I don't cheat others, others will cheat me. Finding loopholes in the rules is the smart way to go. In contemporary China, when people talk about moral decline, they often use words like shocking or worldview shattered, rather than just saying that people have become bad. China is an ancient country with thousands of years of history, and although dynasties have changed, its culture and moral inheritance have never stopped. However, since the Chinese Communist Party came to power in 1949, everything has changed. A scholar specifically wrote an article analyzing this chaotic phenomenon. He pointed out that during the CCP's rise to power, it heavily promoted democracy and freedom to gain support from intellectuals. But once they had control, they turned around and implemented a red terror regime, which left intellectuals feeling betrayed. Furthermore, the CCP's suppression of religious beliefs led people only to believe in the CCP. But the CCP is neither Jesus nor Buddha. Its image is poor, and following it has led people to bad habits. So now, in China, people no longer believe in anything except for money, and they'll do anything to get it. Due to its dictatorial nature, the CCP also restricts citizens' freedom of thought and speech, denies the existence of universal values, tightly controls the media, manipulates facts, covers up the truth, and confuses the public. It only allows one voice, its own. This forces people's thinking, consciously or unconsciously, to follow its line of thought, making it harder for many people to analyze situations independently. This scholar believes China's moral collapse has reached the point of losing all moral boundaries, and it's certainly not a sudden development, but a long-term accumulation. Looking at the actions of the Chinese Communist Party, it's clear that they're the root cause of China's moral collapse. The CCP benefits, the country suffers, and the people are the ones who ultimately pay the price. Hu Ping, the editor-in-chief of the overseas Chinese political magazine Beijing Spring, pointed out that there is hope and potential for China to change its moral direction, but it cannot be expected to naturally improve just through economic development under the current model. The moral decline in recent years is actually closely related to the economic development under the Chinese model. Therefore, he argues, A key issue is that China today needs to establish respect for human dignity, personality, and basic rights. This, in his view, is closely related to the political reforms that have long been discussed. Senior Beijing media figure Lin Changzhou also mentioned that China is on the eve of significant social change. If the Chinese people do not embrace universal values or acknowledge them as a trend, and if these values are not made a societal consensus, the possibility of moral improvement will remain slim.